Hello and welcome to this episode of Beyond the Baseboards. Today we have a special guest. Sometimes a post-intro video almost isn't even needed. This is one of those times. I say almost because it's still needed, because you could always use 2 or 3 intros prior to starting a show. I mean, that goes without saying. If you're not already familiar, Beyond the Baseboards is a podcast-style show where we talk to local experts and really try to go beyond the obvious facts and figures with the real estate market, and instead we just dig into it. The star of this show is Doug Reynolds, and I've got to tell you, he's got some awesome insights. People are always trying to compare our current housing market to 2007. Is it the same? Are we going to collapse? Everyone has their theory, but how can you really tell? Well, Doug is going to give you an exact answer to the question and much more. Not clickbait, absolutely true. Please help me in welcoming the star of this episode. He's a real estate agent that has seen it all. He's a super smart dude, and he's been doing this for a long time. Ladies and gentlemen, Doug Reynolds.
Sacramento was one of the first markets to actually start kind of dropping.
Okay.
So statistically, it was August 2005 was our peak. So a couple of years ahead of a lot of other markets. So when I got into the business, I mean, people were balled up in the fetal position. They didn't know what they were doing. Because these agents that started in 2002, 2003, and they never learned how to do a transaction or anything.
Yeah.
Oh, you just throw a sign in the yard and that's it. And, if my client can fog a mirror, they'll get a loan and everything's all good. So a little bit of a blessing in disguise because it was just a grind from the start. I mean, It was short sales and REOs from day one with me. And it was, well, your neighbor just listed right here, so we're going to list right here. And it was just
the opposite of now.
It was exactly opposite of our market right now. It was kind of a race to the bottom to try to attract those buyers because we had, 8-9 months worth of inventory at that time.
Yeah, it's funny, we share that in common. I started in late 2005, early 2006 in mortgages. And my first year in the business, now in Arizona, it stayed pretty good until 2007. Not great, but good. And then as soon as I got in the business, I always liken it to it was like the world's greatest house party. And I showed up right after the cops broke it up, right? People all passed out on the floor. Everybody's got good big smiles on their faces. Like, what's going on, guys? They're like, could you get a trash bag and start picking this up? And so, it was like one of those things. And then you mentioned the fetal position. I actually saw people like grown people crying. Stupid portal. Hey, how you doing? Good to see you again. Oh yeah, you look familiar. I've seen you. I've seen you. Anyway, hey, good to see you again. What do you think about this guy, huh? Doug's pretty good, isn't he? He's pretty good. And this guy. Hey, hello, look at this guy. I'm doing interviews over here. Get out of here. Anyway, Doug's been doing videos since 2009. You know what that means? We got a lot of old footage. You want to see 2009, Doug? Check it out. Boop.
Hi, I'm Doug Reynolds. Welcome to my website.
It's funny.
I am a realtor with Sacramento, California.
You think Erik knows that he's interviewing 2009 Doug right now? I don't think so. Look at that hair. That's pretty nice. Pretty nice. Doug was rocking the tie back then. Anyway, I just want to say thanks for coming to the video. And I think Doug's pretty awesome. Portal open, Miyagi style. Boop. Oh, going this way. See you later. Oh. In my boss's office one time. And a couple times, actually. And I was just like, what is going on with it? Why is everybody freaking out so much? I didn't know enough at the time to know what was really going on. And it was amazing. It was an amazing time to start in the business at the point of a pretty revolutionary change or turn in the market. Was it the same thing in real estate?
Yeah, I mean, just to hit on, I remember when I got into the business, the real estate, the realtor store here, they started selling these saint statues that you're supposed to go and like bury in the yard to try to get good luck to sell your listing, you know? I mean, I'm like, this is weird. What's going on here?
But like to get your listings, you buy a saint statue and like you.
No, once you get the listing, you like buried it upside down in the yard and it brings buyers to your property or something like that, right? I haven't seen one of those for a while. But.
That's the funniest thing I've ever heard. I've never heard anyone say that before. Does that only happen in your area? I've never heard that before.
I believe the next half of this year is going to be a little more commonly cyclical, which is prices aren't going to be appreciating as much as we've been seeing the last couple of months, probably still appreciating, still multiple offers, still a high volume of sales, but not at the pace that we've been seeing it at, okay? Because of supply and demand. We've got supply is higher now, demand has been high, and so they're starting to kind of level out a little bit here. And then we'll probably start to see buyer demand taper a little bit as we get to, you know, the holidays, Thanksgiving, Christmas, colder, rainy months. Usually we see a slowdown in sales because of that. And then typically February, March, it starts back up again. The inventory's low, the buyers come out, and we see kind of that increase in pricing. So I would say kind of more of a not as sharp of an increase on pricing, you know, the next little bit, get through the winter, and then we'll probably see another bump again, is my expectation.
Yeah, I think that's very smart, right? What you're saying is that amongst other things, what we really need to look for to determine what's going to happen next is what happens in February or March of next year. Because if we don't see that uptick like normal, then we're not part of a normal cycle.
Yeah.
Then we have to start looking at other things. That's a very smart observation.
Yeah, I'd say two things. One, do we see the slowdown as we taper, as we get to the end of the year? Because at the very end of 2020, we did not have that. It just blew right through. It was as if it was a summer market, you know, it just kept going. And so, okay, are we going to start to see that little bit of slowdown in the market, the little bit of seasonality to it? And then the next side of the coin is, do we see the normal spring market where it starts to come back, you know, and starts to jump up again? I would say those are the two things to watch for, to see if we're kind of normalizing in the Sacramento area right now. Yeah. I have a really challenging time with the people that try to just go, well, you know, 2006, 7, 8, whatever year you want to pinpoint it at, you know, was kind of this great recession and the bubble popped and all that, right? Well, our market is here now. And they're just saying that the only thing they're looking at is just, well, the prices were here and the prices are here now. So it must be replicating what's going to happen to come. And it's like, well, first off, you're not even factoring in inflation into that. You're not looking at any other factors other than just one simple statistic. And that's just not a way to look at it. That was something that occurred. If you look back over the history of real estate in the United States, you know, that was a once in 100-year kind of correction, adjustment that occurred and happened. So now, I mean, you got to look at the market and realize that down payments are larger than they've ever been before. You know, people have equity in their properties. The amount of inventory that's out there. I mean, at the peak of the market before the bubble burst in 07, 08, you know, builders were building 4 million houses a year. Right now, they're only building about 1 million homes a year right now. So a quarter of the amount of new inventory available for new home builds. And so those are just a few of the factors that kind of, it's like, we're not comparing apples to apples. The market might have a correction, it might do something, but in no way is it going to just simply replicate what it did previously. That's not a match for what is to come every just 10 years. That's going to happen. No, that's just not the case.
Well, and in that time, there was an abundance of buyers, right? So like you build anything, people will buy it, right? There was an abundance of buyers, and now there's a lack of sellers. There's not enough sellers. And the buyer sentiment and the buyer activity is pretty much in a normal market, but the sellers are so much lower than normal that I think when that starts to shift, I think we're going to more likely return to a stabilized market than we are going to go into a free fall.
Yeah, I think the challenging thing for sellers right now is because of the lack of the inventory, it's, well, I want to sell my house, but I got nowhere to go. I don't want to, I got to pull the boat closer to the dock before I jump because, yeah, I can sell my house, make a ton of equity on it and all that, but where am I going to go live? So there's a bunch of people that are ready to move out of their starter homes and things like that. But because of the way the market is, we just went through a crazy time in the last year and a half with COVID and just the craziness of the world and the economy and the way that was been working. And then the real estate dynamics with it. There's just a lot of people wanting to buy and just a lot of people that want to sell, but they don't feel comfortable actually putting it on the market. Whether, 6-9 months ago, it was, I don't want strangers coming through my home. Now that vaccines have been rolling out and all that, it's okay. I'm more comfortable with that. But now the issue is if I sell my house, I got to have somewhere to go and I'm going to be competing with 5-10 other people, 20 other people. That sounds scary to me. I don't want to end up homeless, So we have, at least in the Sacramento area, you kind of hit on this. I work in the Sacramento region, so mostly Sacramento County, but also Placer County, a little bit of Yolo County, some El Dorado County, Sacramento as a whole. We've been seeing for about 8-9 weeks now, the inventory has started to go up week by week. And that is normal for this time of year. So it appears like the Sacramento area is starting to show signs of some normalizing in our market right now, which is at the end of summer, we've got higher inventory than we started in the spring. And then the market kind of levels out a little bit because, hey, there's more to choose from. I don't have to go, 50 grand over list price, maybe only 10 grand over list price on this one, those types of things.